So today we're going to do the handover video on the Burstner Ixeo Plus 724. We're going to start on the outside and then we're going to move on to the inside. So firstly, coming over to the passenger side, you can see you've got your diesel fill-up points here. And opening up the passenger door, on the passenger side of the dashboard, pull this lever, this will release the bonnet. Whilst we're here as well, you can see that you've got Remis cab blinds spec to this vehicle. Simply pinch the plastic tab, pull them out like so and let it connect up via the magnetic strip. And then pull back to release, and as you can see, let that feed in like so. If you lead from the bottom with the Remis cab blinds, I do find that it helps them stops them from getting caught at the bottom and tangling up. So you've got Remis cab blinds on the entire cab. You've got them on obviously your side windows as well as your front windscreen here as well. You'll also notice all your book pack and manuals and everything are located on the passenger seat, and your tyre pressures are just in the door sill here. So moving over to the bonnet, there's not many things that you need to know underneath the bonnet. The main things that you need to know is if you ever jump starting the vehicle. I'll just lift the bonnet up now and show you where that is done from. Okie dokie, so with the bonnet open, you can see you've got access to the engine. Underneath here, to jump start the vehicle, you can see you've got your positive terminal here, as indicated by the plus sign on the cap. So that goes onto there for your positive, and your negative just connects onto this nipple here, as indicated by the sticker. Only for jump start. So negative is onto there. They're the main things that you need to know, but just to point out a couple more things, you can see that you've got your brake disc fluid here, you've got your engine coolant below, your power steering fluid is up at the top, and then right in the corner you have got your washer fluid. Your engine oil is actually just below that, along with your dipstick. Coming away from the bonnet and onto the other side, you can see that you've got a full awning fitted to this vehicle. This, I believe, is a Thule awning. Now, just bear in mind, if it is a windy day, don't use the awning. You can buy storm straps to obviously, you know, connect the awning into the ground and make it a little bit more robust. But if it is windy, I advise putting the awning back in. You don't want any wind to be underneath that, because as you can imagine, it is a big sail at the end of the day, and it could potentially rip and tear the awning away from the vehicle. You'll notice you've got a small sticker on the side. This is the driver's side now, indicating the vehicle's chassis number and also weights, should you ever need it. And your habitation door is next up. We'll go in there shortly. Next to there is your fridge vents, as you can see. So you've got two here. Just bear in mind, if it is a hot day, you don't really want the sun beating down on this side of the vehicle, because at the end of the day, this is where the fridge pulls its air from. So make sure that it runs a little bit more efficiently. You can always pull the awning out just to keep that area under a little bit of shade. Next up, you've got your cassette locker, and this allows you access to the cassette toilet. Now, as you can see, you've got access to your cassette toilet. To remove this, you need to firstly make sure that the blade on the toilet is closed. If it is open, it'll make this impossible to remove. Now, what I have had is customers have pulled it and forced it, which has subsequently broken the system. So you should always make sure that the blade is closed before removing. Then to remove, simply pull up on this and slide out. I'll slide this out now and put this on the ground for you so you can have a look. Okie dokie, so we are now on the inside of the vehicle. As you can see, you've got your control panel on the right hand side, which is just here as you walk in. You've got your leisure battery voltage. You've then got your vehicle battery voltage. As you can see, more or less full on both. You've then got your 12 volt on and off. Off is there, on is here, and as you can see, that turns on and off your lights. On the other side as well, you'll notice up here you've got a yellow button indicated in the plug. That indicates that we're plugged into 230 volt mains electric. And down here you can see that you've got your points for your water. So if I hold that in, you can see that you've got your freshwater level, and if I hold that in, you can see you've got your wastewater drain down level. Not got much in at the moment. You can see it just reads onto this screen here. Finally, on this panel you've got your pump. In fact, before I move on to that, you'll notice there's a little alarm button here. Don't worry about that. That is it. If anything goes wrong, you'll get a little red button on there. But sorry, moving back onto the pump. To work the pump, you obviously need to make sure that you've got water in the vehicle. You should never run the pump without any water, as you'll run the risk of burning the pump out. So once you're on site, you're filled up with water, click this pump on. Then all you need to do is to go to each of your taps, turn them on, turn them to hot, and what that'll do is it'll pull water from the fresh water tank into the boiler and then out to your tap. It'll spurt and splutter initially, but then when it's running steadily, you've primed your system for your hot water. Do this on all your taps, of course. Once you've done that for your hot water, flick it over to cold and do the exact same. And then when it's running steadily, you've primed your system for your hot water, for your cold water as well. Now, once you've done that, you can leave your tap on because, in essence, it will only activate the pump and deactivate the pump whenever you need it. So it'll work a little bit like what you've got at home. So don't worry about burning out the pump from then. You just need to make sure that you've got water in the system. Now, the reason I always tell customers to prime the system for hot water first is, as I say, that'll pull water from the fresh water tank into the boiler. What that will do is it'll ensure that you've got water in that system, so when you come to turn your heating on, which I'll show you later, you can get the water up to temperature for when you need it. Because by the time the water is heated up, by the time you've gone around the entire vehicle, you know, getting everything ready, which after about half an hour, 40 minutes or so, the vehicle will be ready to use for the hot water, or the hot water will be ready to use in the vehicle and should be up to temperature. I often recommend that, whilst we're on the topic of hot water, to run it off gas first, just to get it up to temperature quickly, and then flick it onto electric if you are on a site. So moving into the kitchen, you can see that you've got your hobs here, which are gas rings. You've then got your sink, and on this side you've got a draining board as well. You've got all storage here, really good bit of storage, as you can see. Do bear in mind this vehicle hasn't been valeted yet, so just look past anything you see, it just needs valet. But as you can see, it has got a decent amount of storage. Now, underneath here, you'll notice that you've got 3 red taps. They are isolation valves, and they'll isolate certain individual points on the vehicle. Now, you shouldn't need to turn these should stay as they are. These are only here for when the technicians are working on the vehicle. You've got some more storage on the front as well, and just directly opposite, you can see that you have got your fridge and also your oven and grill, which is directly above. The oven and grill, obviously, is dead simple. It works like a normal conventional oven and grill, but underneath your fridge is slightly different. So you've got your freezer up at the top, and beneath you can see that you've got your fridge. Now I'll open it up. You can see this is a Dometic fridge. It's a 3-way system in essence. So if I click this on, you can see it turns the fridge on. You've got the temperature on here. If I click that button, it will vary the temperature. And this is a fan. As you can see, that's activated. And that will just recirculate the air. You'll notice you've got a little button here, or a little indication icon, as you can see. And this is for if you get an error, basically. So if the vehicle ever needs resetting, or the fridge rather, you'll know to do that from there. Going through the options now, you've got the option to run this off gas. As you can hear, it's actually trying to click in. 230 volts if you wanted, so you wanted to run the vehicle off electric. So at the moment we are on electric, so say for example you're based on a site, you'll run the vehicle off 230 volt. Click it again, you can then also run it off 12 volt. Now you'll notice the red light has come on, which indicates a fault. I'll just quickly flick it over to 230 volts again. Now the reason you got that red light is it's trying to fuel the fridge with something that it hasn't got, and this is the reason why I describe it as a three-way fridge. There's three ways to power it. You've got the gas, which I've shown you, the 230 volt, which is currently on, and obviously the 12 volts. So when you're wild camping, you'll run your fridge off your gas. When you're on site, you'll run it off your 230 volts, and when you're traveling, you'll run it off your 12 volts. Now, a lot of people think that they'll run the fridge off the 12 volts when they're wild camping, but that's not the case. If it was, it would simply drain the battery of all of its power, because as you can imagine, it does drain a lot of power. So it'll only run your 12 volt leisure battery when travelling. The reason for that is this vehicle's got a built-in alternator, which will send power to the leisure battery and ultimately allow you to feed the fridge when the vehicle is running. But at the moment, because we've not got the engine running, it's not allowing you to do that, hence why you got the red light. And then your three modes. If you wanted, you'll notice that that's an auto select, so it'll automatically select whichever fuel you've got, so you might want to just leave it on that. And to turn it off, hold the mode button in, and it will turn off eventually. One more thing about the fridge before I move on. Put things in there to maintain the temperature. So it does a very good job at maintaining the temperature, but not the best of jobs at getting it down to temperature, unlike your fridge at home, because of obviously the amount of power. So if you want frozen things to be in the freezer, put frozen things in there. If you want cool things to be in the fridge, put cool things in there. Okie dokie, so we're now moving on from the fridge and into the bedroom area. So you can see that you've got your island bed here. Your ladders for your front bed in the lounge are just obviously here at the moment. I'll show you how that front bed drops and operates shortly. Your bathroom is here. So we'll move on to this quickly. Your taps we've been through, obviously priming your system, so that's the exact same. This does flip out as well, should you need it. And you can see here is your cassette toilet. Now, as I mentioned, you need to open and close the blade. So this will be a little bit clearer. To open it, pull this out all the way, and that opens it. That will then let all the waste drop into the cassette. Once you've done that, you then need to close the blade like so it's flush. And then to empty it, push that blade in, like so it connects in, and then you can remove the cassette. You just need to make sure that that's flush. It wasn't quite flush. You need to make sure that that's flush with this to allow it to open. Now, the reason that you close the blade is to, one, ensure that no odours escape from the cassette, but two, it also gets you into the habit of whenever you come to remove the cassette, it doesn't end up getting stuck or forced or anything, or broken. Now, you'll also see that you've got a button here. Click that and that will activate your flush. You need to always make sure that you've got water in the system for that to do that, and you'll also need your pump on for that to operate. You've got lights on here that indicate when it's full as well, so once you get that light as an indication, you can empty it. Next, we've then got your shower, which is directly opposite. As I mentioned, that's the same as priming your system, so we don't really need to go through that. And then we're back into the bedroom area. In the bedroom on the left hand side, you'll notice you've got a few light switches here, which will turn on and off your lights. And underneath that, you've got your controls for your heating system and for your boiler. So if I just get here, you can see you've got two systems. One's for your hot water and one's for your vehicle's heating. So firstly, the vehicle's heating is up at the top. At the moment, it's in the off position. and depending on what you want to select will basically determine you know how hot you want the vehicle, and also what conditions you've been supplied with on the site in terms of power. So at the moment we've got the control or the heating set to and this is for your vehicle heating, this is for gas. So to fuel it you can run it off gas. If you wanted, you can also one up from that one squiggly line is to run the vehicle off 1 kilowatt electric. So if you're on site and you've not got much power, or say you want to maintain the temperature, you can run the vehicle off 1 kilowatt electric. Finally, you've then got the 2 squiggles, and that's 2 kilowatt electric. 9 times out of 10, if you're on site and running the vehicle off electric, you'll run it off the 2 kilowatt electric, so should you need to. Moving back, you've then got a gas and 1 squiggly line. That's a mixture of gas and 1 kilowatt electric. And then moving it down again, you've got 2 squiggly lines on gas, and that is gas and a mixture of 2 kilowatt electric as well. So if it is really cold, that'll help it get up to temperature the quickest. Now, if I drop to the bottom one, as you can see, it's actually a similar sort of idea. In the middle, it's in the off button. You can see that there's a little O there. It's a similar sort of concept, this. So if you're on site and you want to run the system off electric, you've got 2 options. So you can either run it off 40 or 60. So depending on what you're running it off. This is for electric, as I say. 40 degrees, or it's approximately 40 degrees. That's about 1 kilowatt electric. So you'll use that when you're having a shower, and 60 degrees you'll use that when you're washing up and things like that, or when you first get into the vehicle. It just helps boost that temperature up and get it to temperature the quickest. Coming back down, you can then run this off gas if you want, or gas and electric should you want to again. You have also got this dial as well, so you can change the intensity, which will also improve and change obviously how much you want the system to be powered. Before moving on, you've then got on all your windows these latches here that you just need to unpick like that. That'll allow you to release the window. You can push them up and open. You can put these on venting as well, as you can see, but please make sure that they are closed completely when travelling. Just pull them all the way back, make sure that they make contact to ensure that the entire window is sealed. Okie dokie, so moving back, you've then got in one of your wardrobes some hanging space, but also the location of your aerial. Similar to the windows, you need to make sure that your aerial is checked before moving off. You need to ensure that this is down, to obviously ensure that this isn't stuck up and could potentially hit anything. To push it up, you need to unscrew this white valve here, push this up, and then tighten the white valve into place, and this will allow you to have signal. You can see you've got a light on here as well to indicate that it is on. This will only work with your 12 volt system turned on, bear that in mind. Below as well, you've got your RCD breaker, so if the vehicle ever trips, you can come to this point here. I just thought I'd show you the other side as well. You've got shelving in here, but if you wanted to use it for storage, you can do, or hanging space rather. And you've got some more along the top as well. Now this rear bed is electrically operated. Push the button, you can see it reclines and folds up should you wish. Again, you need to make sure your 12 volt is on for this to operate, should you want to use it. Moving back down, you can see that you've got some storage underneath here, which is dead easy to get to. And as I mentioned in the garage area, you did have a point to access your boiler. You can also see where the boiler is located in here as well. The reason you need to access this point of the boiler is to drain down your boiler system. Now, as I mentioned, you have 3 main drain down points. You've got your fresh water, your wastewater, and your boiler drain down points. We've been through the wastewater. Up next is your boiler. So, to drain this down, you've got two little drain down valves. You've got your frost protection valve here. As you can see, that blue diamond there, at the moment it's closed. All you need to do to open it is to ping that out. The black nib on the top pops up and a blue nib on the side pops out. That empties the boiler. And then next to that, you've got a little yellow valve or yellow toggle. At the moment that's closed. In the up position, that is open. Now the blue, or this initial drain down point, drains everything in the boiler. The yellow toggle will drain everything from the boiler to the tap. So bear that in mind, don't get them confused. But you always need to make sure that these are closed when in use, and when not in use, always ensure that these are open. Now, to close this, all you need to do is simply turn the diamond so the black nib is located in, and then push that blue button on the side in. It's quite difficult to see on the video, but you can see that that blue button is flush, and then you are good to go. Now, this does react to temperature, this particular drain down point, the one with the black box and the blue diamond. So if it does reach a certain temperature, it will actually drain its system of the water, which is dead handy. Bear in mind though, if you are using the vehicle in colder climates and you've not used the vehicle for a while, it may not want you to fill the boiler up with water, in danger of it freezing. So you may have to run the heating just for a period of time, just to obviously get that area hot and relatively warm enough for that to stick in. So moving on from the back, we're going back into the front now. You can see you've got your drop down bed here, with a bit of storage on them on the sides as well. When dropping the bed, you need to of course make sure that the area is clear, and then using this button here, you've got the down button, hold that in, and that will drop the bed. And then as you can see, using the ladders, clip them onto the side and up you go. You've got a really spacious bed for two. You have got an R button on here. This is a reset. You shouldn't need to do that, but if you ever do, that's how you do it. And to send it up, as I say, click this button back up and it'll send the entire bed back into place. Once at this point, you can hook that on and you are good to go. Moving into the lounge, your TV is just located underneath this piece here, this flip up pressure plate. So just apply pressure onto that. That will allow you to access the telly. And then on this side, you've got your forward facing passenger seats. Underneath the passenger seats, you can see where your freshwater tank is located. To access this and to clean it out if you wanted, you can remove this red cap, clear it, and you can put purifying tablets in there as well. I would not recommend drinking out of the freshwater tank, however, with it being plastic. To empty the tank, and this is the final drain down point, all you need to do is turn this like so, and that will allow you to open and close the tank. Now just bear in mind, if it is a little bit of a an inconvenience, if you're wild camping especially, you can keep water in the tank rather than draining the entire thing down and having to obviously fill it all the way back up. But they do recommend that you drive with only 20 litres of water. So there is a quick drain down point on this. If you keep turning, there's a little lug. I actually just felt it. If you drain until you hit that lug, it will drain the entire tank down to 20 litres should you need water. But if not, if you want to drain the entire thing down, just continue past that lug and it'll allow you to drain the entire 120 litres out of the vehicle. Now that concludes the handover video on the Ixeo Plus 724. I hope you enjoyed.